God is what satisfies. And so my junior year, I just kept doing it. I'd take one step forward, but then I would take two steps back. You can't do that. It's gotta persevere, and I wasn't doing that. And there were times when I was very weak, and but the guy my guy who decided with me. His name's Chase Walker. He just kept after me. He never gave up, and it's kind of like God. God worked through him because God never gives up on us. Like he's patient. He was patient with Peter in the Bible, and he was patient with me. He never gave up on me no matter how much I screwed up. And I mean, it's just the truth. And so my junior year went by, and everything was going good. I was starting to narrow down my schools to commit to for soccer. And I was, still in the popular group, had the same group of friends. Everything was going good. And I went back to Young Life Camp, and, I had another great experience. And, I thought I found everything I wanted. Like, I had renewed my relationship with God after, I was like, I'm going forward. I'm not taking steps back. I'm going to keep going forward. No going back. That's what I kept telling me. And for some reason, I thought I just had to be this perfect person. And so that summer at Young Life Camp, I met this girl, and she was a cheerleader. And we started talking, going on dates. And beginning of my senior year, I made it official with her. Started dating her as my first girlfriend in high school. And girls was something that I definitely took for granted. I didn't have respect for them. I thought they were just something to take out on a couple of dates and hook up with them, and I found satisfaction in that. I had no respect for them, and it's sad looking back on it because, that's someone's sister, that's someone's daughter, and I was just a complete fool. And it's hard, because I have two sisters, and if some guy did that to my sisters, it would kill me. And this was the first girl I made it official with, and I thought I had to be this perfect person, this perfect boyfriend. And so in doing so, I dropped everything. I stopped hanging out with my best friends. I stopped hanging out with everyone pretty much, and just my whole identity was in this girl. And I did it because I thought that's what God wanted me to do. I thought He wanted me to be this perfect person, and to stop drinking, and to stop, going to parties and hooking up with other girls and cussing and, just committing sin. I thought He wanted me to be perfect. And turns out I went through a whole year of an unhealthy relationship. I'm not going to get into detail on that, but it was just an unhealthy relationship. We didn't pursue God at all. I thought pursuing God was doing all the right things, but that's not it. It's pursuing God. It's chasing after Him with your girlfriend or your significant other. It's not trying to be this perfect person, because God knows that we're not perfect. We sin. That's us as humans. But it's living to glorify Him and to pursue Him is what we're called to do. And I wasn't doing that my senior year. I was trying to be this perfect person, and it doesn't work out that way. And so I went through my senior year, and I decided that in May I decided I was going to stay and go to community college and pass up on countless Division I schools, from Oregon State to Air Force Academy to Army to DePaul to countless D1 schools for soccer that offered me scholarships, that invested time in me. I threw completely away. D2 schools, D3 schools, NAIA, I threw it all away just for this girl who I thought was my identity. She was who I put my trust in. And in doing so, I thought I was going to lose my best friends, but by God's grace, He kept them close to me, by my side, faithful to me through the end, and I'm still so thankful for that. And so after my senior year, I graduated, and there was something inside me that was just telling me, I'm doing the wrong thing, staying. But I was just my head was that was when my heart was telling me, but my head was telling me, no, you're doing the right thing. You're gonna stay with this girl. You're gonna marry this girl. Blah blah blah. And then the guy who decided on me goes, hey, you're coming to wilderness with me. And it was just a week in Colorado, just 7 days in the wilderness, like in God's beauty, no phones, no nothing, just discipleship. And so I was like, okay, I'm going. And truth be told, my girlfriend got really mad that I was going because she wanted to spend those 7 days with me because it was close to when I was going to school. It was in July. And I went on the trip. And on the trip, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I got so much closer with one of my best friends and then the guy who discipled me. And those two are two of my accountability partners to this day. And while I was there, I realized that I prayed about it while I was there, and I realized that I needed to go to college. I needed to get out of there. I wasn't in a healthy relationship. I needed to find my identity in God, not in a girl. And I feel like a lot of relationships in high school find their identity in that other and not in God. And I was a perfect example of that. So when I came back, I naturally broke up with my girlfriend. And I was like, well, I have 2 weeks before school starts. What am I going to do? And by the grace of God, He provided me the opportunity to go to Hardin-Simmons University. And I was like, I'm not going to Abilene, Texas. I'm from the city. Like, I'm not going to Abilene, Texas. That's not me. And, you know, God was saying, that's where I want you to go. And so, you know, I came out here my freshman fall. I struggled. Like, I was away from my best friends who I'd been with since I was in kindergarten. I had recently broke up with my girlfriend, and I just said bye to my family. So I thought I had no one. And because of that, I naturally turned to what I knew best, and that was alcohol. So I became, you know, I just flat out started drinking again and had the worst soccer season I ever had my freshman year. Didn't start a game. And just, you know, fell back in the whole hooking up with girls thing. And that continued over to my spring semester. And, I was just a mess. Like, I was searching for all the wrong things, you know. After I had known that my identity was in God, I still felt this emptiness being away at college and not really having a true group of friends. So I looked to other things for it. And then my sophomore year, you know, I decided, hey, I'm not going to drink during season. And God showed me great things happen. And I had the best year, one of the best years of my 3 years here, you know, and it was because I found my security in God. It wasn't in a girl. It wasn't in alcohol. It wasn't in, you know, anything else but Him. And I was going to church at Beltway, and I was loving it. And then season ended, and I was like, you know, everyone was like, hey, come out and party with me. You know, sophomore year after season, I was like, all right, let's, you know, let's do it and celebrate the year. And so I did. I went out I went to guitars every weekend after the season ended, just, you know, getting hammered left and right. It didn't even faze me. And then I came home for my sophomore winter break, and you know, my best friends are always gonna be my best friends. I love them to death, but they are a temptation for me. And so I was back New Year's Eve of my sophomore year. I guess it was just rock bottom. I just made, you know, I went as much as I could go before, you know, the point of no return. And I woke up the next morning at my friend's lake house, and I just threw up from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. at that day. And it was the start of the new year, right? And that's what I was doing. And I realized that for the first time in my life, I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't have accountability. And so I went back to Hardin-Simmons, and this was my sophomore spring, and I got pursued by